Bradley Manning has been in confinement for 17 months. They are charging him with leaking classified information when he was in the armed forces. For 10 of those months, he was largely in solitary confinement. They would let him walk around for 1 hour a day, not really interacting with anyone else, while in shackles. They treated him terribly during that time, oftentimes making him strip down naked for inspections for no reason. The mental health professional said he posed no suicide risk. Nonetheless, they would take away his sheets at night. They would not let him sleep during the day. All of this was done, obviously, to pressure him to give up the person that he leaked the information to, because they really wanted to target Julian Assange. But he wouldn't do it. Yet another courageous act by Bradley Manning. And so now, for the first time, 17 months later, on Friday, he is getting his first hearing ever. I mean, first of all, let's understand how outrageous that is. If you're a U.S. citizen, well, you would hope that you would get a trial, some sort of hearing, before 17 months of imprisonment, including 10 months basically in solitary confinement. I mean, what happened to our rights? So, okay, he's in a military setting. They're going for a court-martial. It's a little different, but it's still an outrageous way to treat one of our troops, one of our citizens. And when you break down his case, well, there's some interesting elements to it. First of all, he's charged with a number of things. One of them is aiding the enemy. For aiding the enemy, you can be executed. Executed. Now, the prosecutor is going to ask for life in prison, which already is unbelievable. But the judge can say, hey, you asked for life in prison, but I'm going to order execution anyway. Now, some of the other charges that he's facing is publishing, wrongfully causing intelligence to be published on the internet, theft of public property or records, and violating Army security regulations. So what do I think should happen to Bradley Manning? Because, look, it's a complicated case. On the one hand, he released hundreds of thousands of documents, some of which were definitely classified information. Now, they were low-level classified information. He released nothing that was top secret. You should know that, and that is relevant to the case. Number two, in the beginning, the U.S. Government was saying, oh my God, I can't believe you released this. This is so damaging. Oh my God, the people that are going to be harmed by it. When asked later how many people got harmed by it, they were not able to name a single human being. And to this day, they have not named one. So if you've heard anyone talking about, oh, our guys in the field were in jeopardy, etc., that is not true. There has not been one person harmed by this release, according to the U.S. government. Okay. Second of all, he could have sold off the documents, by the way, to an actual enemy of the United States and made a ton of money if he had bad intent. But he didn't. In fact, the guy who turned him in was having a conversation and asked him, why didn't you sell it to a foreign agent? He said, I don't want to do that. What I want to do is start, quote, a worldwide discussion, debates, and reforms about all the things that we are doing wrong. So he is literally a whistleblower. That was his intent. It's unquestionable. The guy who turned him in, turns in evidence showing he is a whistleblower, right? So, on the one hand, yes, he did something he technically is not supposed to do, violating Army security regulations. If it is proven, is something that you can charge him with and perhaps sentencing him to something. Aiding the enemy, he specifically was not aiding the enemy. Nothing he did aided the enemy. None of our people got hurt. And in reality, there was enormous benefit from it. For example, one of the things that we found out was how corrupt the Tunisian royal family was. After that was released in Wikileaks, and again, we don't even know that Manning's information went to Wikileaks. That is just among the accusations, right? But if that is true, well, look at what happened in Tunisia. It was at least partly responsible for starting the revolution there that led to the Arab Spring and that led them to get rid of their dictator. I mean, is that good for the world? Oh, it's fantastic for the world. In Egypt, more WikiLeaks cables that added fuel to that fire. It's not solely responsible for Tunisia or Egypt, but it was an important part of that process. Here in the United States, we got to find out all the things that our government was doing that was wrong. Casualty counts that are 15,000 people higher than our government was willing to admit. And they say it in those cables. Well, we want to basically, or they say, hide this information from the public. Obviously, the famous footage of our troops, unfortunately, killing journalists on the ground in Iraq, and that something that was covered up. That was called collateral murder on the internet, that video. And we found out so much more about Iraq, Afghanistan, what our government is doing, what a lot of powerful people and dictators across the world are doing. I think Australian officials said that it was, or at least their press, said that it was more investigative reporting and scoops than a normal reporter could find in a lifetime. So in a big, big way, it is classic whistleblower. Now, when you go to the ultimate determination of which way you should go on this, and I thought about it, and I said, look, the problem is you can't just say that anybody can do this. Because what if they release the wrong information? And you can't empower everybody who works in the armed forces or in the intelligence community to say, oh, leak it at will, right? So I understand the government's motivation in attaching some sort of consequences to Bradley Manning's action. And do I think he did it perfectly? No. Some of the information, as I just told you, was incredibly necessary. But at the same time, he leaked hundreds of thousands of documents. In my estimation, it's just my estimation for whatever it's worth. If he did do it, he overleaked. Meaning, I would have preferred, and it's easy for me to say in the comfort of the studio what I would have preferred, but what I think would have been better is if he selectively leaked the things that he thought were egregious, that we should know about our government, and left the other stuff out so that he is absolutely a whistleblower. Now, you can disagree on that and say, hey, listen, he did the best he could. He put out stuff there that wind up, in essence, making him a whistleblower. And I would be sympathetic to that argument. But I am somewhat sympathetic to the argument, as I just told you, that the government needs to put some consequence on it. So, what do I think should happen? Well, he's already served 17 months, 10 months of which was brutal. Is that enough punishment for, if it is true and they can prove that he wrongfully caused intelligence to be published on the internet and that he violated Army security regulations? Yes, that is plenty of punishment. That is more than enough punishment. They should have that hearing. They should say, and I'm sure they will not, but they should say, time served is plenty enough. It's time to free Bradley Manning.